Okay, let's talk a little bit about how to evaluate your sales team and whether or not they're performing and whether or not they're not performing. And I'm going to do it in the context of pricing specifically. There are companies out there that, let's say, charge $9.99 per acquisition, right? Where their product costs $9.99, thus they're getting large waves of deals coming in. Thus, the sales team can seem like they're performing because they're getting a lot of conversions on a product that costs $9.99. And let's say if you're targeting central Manhattan, New York, or Hong Kong, or Singapore, that price range is more than fair and something that they can probably sell at volume. I'm a bit surprised that I have to say this. But if your product costs $250,000 a year, or there's a, $20,000 a month or $5,000 a month even deal, well, that elongates the sales process because companies also would have to be able to have sign-off and also working capital to actually be able to afford the service or the product or the technology, which elongates the sales process. So a $9.99 conversation is not going to in any way be the same as a $5,000 conversation or a $10,000 conversation. But let's say your technology is new. It's something that's revolutionary or breaking new ground or something that is not necessarily anything that anybody needed to use prior, but you're trying to introduce it into the market. With that type of price range, you're elongating the sales process even more because now you're spending, let's say, 2 to 3 months to educate the market, maybe even longer than that. And then at the same time, after you've educated them, you need to create a pain to where they realize why this is necessary and how this could change everything for them compared to what they were doing before. And then you'd actually have to sell them on the price to be able to invest in such a thing. So all of these have to come into play when you're looking at sales, where oftentimes what we see in the market is that individuals either have new technologies or technologies that are nice to haves and not need to haves, but then they have really large forecasting numbers, which is we're looking to generate $2 to $3 million, $5 million within this year because our price point is, $100,000. Yeah, mathematically that makes sense, but actually in the sales process, keep in mind that the audience, the market, actually has to respond to how you've set up your pricing. So they would need to have it in order to buy it, and they would need to want to buy it in order to buy it. And there's no salesperson that can magically put some sales voodoo out there to convince them otherwise. I'm a bit surprised that I would have to say this, but that is the realities of sales, and that it's not magic. There is baseline realities that people are going to have to accept. One, about their product. I know they don't want to hear that. But two, about their pricing and how they're positioning it. And three, whether or not the market even cares. That's something as well that people need to realize. Look in the mirror and realize people might not actually care about what I'm providing into the market as much as I do. I know, it hurts. It's just, how could that be possible? This is going to change the world. There are so many technologies that are going to change the world. So many. But that doesn't necessarily mean that people have the same level of enthusiasm as you do. Thus, would they want to pay $2 million for it, or $200,000 for it, or $300,000 for it? You have to price based on the market. You have to evaluate your salespeople based on how you've structured your technology and based on how you've positioned your technology into the market, value-wise or price-wise. Hope that's helpful.